This is a chart that had just started to turn. And Derek did not take the trade. Here is the whole thing in one sentence. Naming a setup and having a setup are two different things. A market can start behaving the way you expected and still not have done the one thing that would prove it. So the question is never, does this look good? The question is, what specifically would have to happen for this to be real, and has that happened yet? On this day, it had not. So there was no position.
The good thing is gold is starting to finally turn around, but I don't think that this is an opportunity to go long here based on this break of the 20-day FLD. Think that you have to wait to see if this is a larger move. It'll break this 20-week VTL, and then we'll have confirmation of a larger cycle.
Listen to the order of that. The first thing said is that the thing had turned. That is the good news, and it is stated as good news. The second thing is the refusal. Both in the same breath. What turned was a short cycle line. In Hurst's framework, that line is called a future line of demarcation, an FLD, and the version here was built off a 20-day cycle. Price crossing it upward is a real event. It is the smallest honest piece of evidence that the short cycle has turned. It is also, on its own, almost nothing. Because a 20-day cycle turning does not tell you a 20-week cycle turned. Those are different animals on different clocks, and they are not interchangeable. The condition named on the tape is a break of the 20-week line. Not the 20-day line. The 20-week. And on this day, that had not happened. So the read was, the small clock turned, the big clock has not, and until the big clock confirms, this is a chart to watch and not a chart to be in. That is not caution. That is a written condition being checked, and failing.
It does look like it's still forming, but we can say that at least an 80-day valid trend line was broken last month.
Same session, different market, same structure of thought. A long trend line had already broken. That is the damage. It is in the past and it is not in dispute. The question on this chart was whether the recovery since then had undone it. Watch what gets said about that.
While things are starting to look a little better, they're not perfect. And the larger move is definitely in store.
Better, and not perfect. Those are two separate findings and they were both said out loud, in that order. This is the part that is easy to miss, because it is not dramatic. Most of the work in reading a chart is holding two true things at once without letting the nicer one win. The market got better. The market is not fixed. Both. And when you hold both, the position that follows is usually no position at all. It is worth being plain about why this deserves 6 minutes of your time. Every chart video you will ever watch finds something. That is the format. Someone opens a chart, and by the end there is a trade in it, because a video with no trade in it feels like a wasted video. But that is a property of videos. It is not a property of markets. Most days, on most charts, the honest answer is that the thing you would need has not happened yet. If your method cannot produce that answer out loud, it is not a method. It is a mood.
That's a valid trend line, and you can't break it like that.
That is the other half, and it is the half that makes the waiting bearable. A line that actually mattered does not get given up quietly. When the real break comes, it comes with force, and you do not have to squint at it, or talk yourself into it. That is why waiting is not the same as missing. You are not giving up the idea. You are declining the ambiguous front edge of it and keeping your attention for the part that announces itself. The setup that needs a paragraph of explanation is usually the setup that has not arrived. So, the takeaway. Write down the condition before you go looking for the trade. Then check it. Then be willing to say out loud that it failed. A chart that looks good is not the same as a chart that has done the thing. There is a free book that walks this method start to finish, written by Derek. The link is in the description.